We stand for peace, love, happiness, and abundance for all. Listen to your heart and soul's call, and we will encourage you to be bold, audacious, and devoted. Kim, Indigo, and Wind, helping you win by healing deep within. Only way to the golden age. Like, share, and subscribe today.
What is the Matrix, and why is it real opposed to just a fictional movie?
I'm not sure if our viewers have watched The Matrix. I watched it when I was really young, and then I rewatched it, which I mentioned with you guys, shared with you guys, maybe a few weeks ago, maybe like a month ago. And it was so insightful for me to watch it from these eyes, my current consciousness. The fictional movie of The Matrix had so many, hidden gems in them that really exposed or was able to share with us the truth of how the Matrix really work, this false Matrix that we choose to participate in, because it is a choice to participate in that Matrix. And what we're offering here by showing you how to anchor in the divine Matrix is another option, offering you a chance to question all of the programming that you probably didn't even realize you were programmed into, and to see something beyond, to create a new reality.
The way I look at The Matrix, the movie, if you ever watched it, or even if you didn't, please watch it if you do. It's more of a documentary to me. And of course, it still has that Hollywood theatrical, storyline. So besides all that, there are still, like Indigo said, a lot of hidden gems. And that's actually can be found in a lot of different movies, is they put a lot of truth in them and they hide it as fiction. Like, where are they getting all these ideas from? But what I love about The Matrix and what that has done to those of us on a spiritual path, on a spiritual journey, it helps us to realize that this world is really created through our consciousness. We are either consciously co-creating this reality, or we're unconsciously creating this reality. And most of us have a deep subconscious programming where we think, because again, subconscious programming, we've been programmed since we were children, programmed since we've been in the womb. We've been programmed even before we even were incarnated in this reality, so to speak. The reason why it is definitely real is because we're experiencing it. And again, we're co-creating it, whether we realize this or not. And that doesn't matter if we're experiencing a hard time in this Matrix reality. The Matrix is a simulation. It's a simulation. So if you think of like even the game The Sims, or any type of video game, it's an artificial simulation, but we are still playing the game. We are still participating in this simulation. And if you even think about the movie The Matrix, if you ever seen it, they ask, take the red pill or the blue pill, right? And the red pill was the one that helped to see through past all the illusions, right? Then you get the opportunity to be able to see how that we control our reality and how we are playing this game. And also not only how we can control our reality, how we have not been in control, how we've been deeply programming, and how we've been almost in a way slaves to this Matrix, slaves to the false reality, the slaves to the false illusions. But it's still real in the sense that we are experiencing that. It's also an illusion because we can shift out of that. So that's why The Matrix is real opposed to an actual fictional movie. Because once you start waking up consciously, you start to be able to realize that you can shift out of that reality. Once you take your power back, once you take the red pill, metaphorically speaking.
What I recognized and what I felt when I was watching this movie is like seeing past all the illusions. And it can be such a mind shift to be participating in the false Matrix. And when you wake up, it's like just reality shattering, but it's always going back to your heart and going back to love. for me, and everything that we do and everything we consume and everything that we see and things that we participate in, it's like, it's just so in your face. It's so real because it's so in your face in regards to, we were talking earlier about chemicals that are in shampoo or chemicals that are in food, or, you know, it's so like, it's so real because it's in your face of how much we are distorted and how much we are meant to be destroyed by the matrix if we let it. So for me, I've just been able, with my own experience, just observing, you know, everything that's in the false matrix and shifting my reality. So I've been able to experience it throughout my whole life, with shifting that perspective from the false matrix to the divine matrix. So, I mean, it's, everyone has their journey, and everyone's gonna be able to shift if you choose to shift and have the higher awareness. So that's why it's been real opposed to a fictional movie for me.
And and we can choose to shift out of it. You know, it's really all up to us. This reality is not all that there is. It's not all that there is. We're only seeing a small amount through the spectrum of our consciousness. A very small amount, not, even through the senses. Like, there's a world beyond our senses.
Yes.
But once we wake up consciously, then we'll be able to tap into that higher dimensional reality. And that's why the matrix is very real in terms of it being an artificial reality that we have, again, unconsciously and subconsciously chosen to play in. And we're going to help you be able to realize that you can take your power back.
What's the biggest difference between the divine matrix and the false matrix that most people are living within?
You know, the thing is, going back to the divine matrix and then the false matrix, let's expand now. I feel like we definitely focused a lot on the false matrix. Let's expand on the contrast of the divine matrix. So the divine matrix is the original matrix. It's the source. The matrix, actual word, the original derivative of the word, the origins of the word matrix comes from the word matriarch, which means the mother, which also goes back to the womb. And you can look this up yourself if you're into etymology, as I am, looking at where the words come from. So when we're going back to the womb, we're going back to the mother, the divine mother. And again, there's a masculine aspect of God too, but we're focusing on the mother because specifically the matriarch, the matrix comes from the mother because she's the creative force, right? She creates. So we can create from this womb space. We can create from this void space. It's the space of infinite potential. And so we have created, and again, unconsciously and subconsciously, and again, from being tampered with by horrible false light entities, and that's a whole nother story. But from that divine matrix, you can choose to create heaven on earth, or you can choose to create hell on earth. And most of us are living in hell. And when I say hell, because look at what we're going through in the world. I'm not saying that all of us are, burning in some type of hellish fire and that life is just doom and gloom. But for some people in this, on this planet, for most people, we see they're suffering from disease. There's murders, there's rape, there's child sex trafficking, there's drug addiction, alcoholism in corporations, all of that. There's deviant behaviors. There's behaviors that are manipulative and to siphon off people's energy. So when we're looking at that false matrix compared to the divine matrix, there's none of that because people are choosing love over fear. They're choosing love. They're back to their original beingness, the original light that we are all meant to be and who we really are on a soul level. But we're all coming back to that. So if we're still engaging in all of that nonsense and even participating, kind of like what even Kim was saying, even down to the shampoos, why is there toxins in something that's supposed to nourish your hair? Why is there toxins in something that's supposed to help your body, in your face or whatever? Even down to those simple things. That is the false matrix. In the divine matrix, it causes harm to none. Harm to none. Everybody is benefiting. Everybody is flourishing. Everybody is thriving. So that's the difference between the false matrix and the divine matrix, but it comes from within. You have to choose through your mind, your body, your spirit, your emotional state of being. If you work on those, then you're naturally going to magnetize yourself to experience heaven on earth, which is what the golden age is all about.
I was just thinking about the golden age. I'm like, the divine matrix is the golden age. Yeah, and that's why we're going through such a spiritual awakening throughout the whole world. You know, like people, there's so much disruption because people are awakening at a mass time now. For me, you know, it's the divine matrix. It's going to the golden age. And I believe in the episode that our last episode, when Indigo mentioned like, what's going on right now is the manifestation of Master Jeshua and like his manifestation of the golden age. So that's why we're now awakening at a larger scale. So that's, you know, for me, that's the difference between the divine matrix and the false matrix is dismantling all the false and going back to love, just like Gwen said. So just wanted to add a little bit of that. What it resonates with me was what Indigo said in the last episode, like it's the manifestation of Master Jeshua.
Yes, the embodiment.
Yes, embodiment. Yes.
Wind, I love what you said about heaven and hell and how we choose to participate either way, in either one. You know, we can choose to create our heaven on earth, or we can choose to create hell on earth. And hell or heaven is a state of being within. And that's what we're talking about here when we talk about the false matrix and in the divine matrix. It's created from within, from inside out. When we talk about, you know, the illusions of it and things like that, we create what's inside of us, and that it becomes our reality. Then we are able to. So if we're living from a space of heaven on earth, right, our life will seem like it's beautiful, you know, saying that we won't have challenges, but we won't be looking at them as, oh, the whole world is falling, my whole world is falling apart. No, we will see it as a challenge that has a lesson in it that teaches us or allows us to grow, allows us to be stronger, allows us to learn about discernment and so many different things that our challenges can teach us. The third dimension is just one reality, and that duality that is in the third dimension has its space to allow us to be able to learn the lessons that we need to learn, to be able to transcend to the fourth, fifth, sixth, and beyond dimensions, right? Because it shows you, it comes right into your face. Like, if this could be so challenging and you can overcome that, you can ascend, you can transcend your any situation. So the duality have a purpose, but it's not the only reality. The 3D is not the only reality that we exist for, you know. We have options beyond that, and that's like a stepping stone to beyond.
Exactly. Yes, it's a stepping stone to step up or to step down. You know, you get to, because you get to choose. That's the thing. We get to choose, but a lot of us don't realize we have that choice. You know, so that is really, really powerful statement that you said, Indigo. And yet the ability to choose is really what it comes down to. And once you are aware that, oh, wow, I don't have to experience the contrast anymore. I don't have to experience the duality, the good or the bad. How about we come back to oneness, which is only through love, through love. I also like to the concept of, it doesn't mean that all challenges will be even eliminated, even as you're in the golden age. But what I am getting very strongly is that the challenges, in a way, eliminate themselves. they eliminate themselves through your frequency, through your consciousness, through your love, through your light. They naturally will eliminate themselves because now you're in that realm of miracles, miracle consciousness, So that is the divine matrix also, is that miracle consciousness, is that because you're so supported. And again, the more that we raise that vibration and operate from a higher frequency, then yes, we are going to be able to experience those miracles, and you're not going to be dealing with the drama as you're anchoring in the divine matrix, because that's not an energetic match to that. It's not an energetic match. Yes.
Love that.
Why can the false matrix also be considered an illusion? And we talked about that a little bit, but let's expand.
Anything that doesn't support you, anything that doesn't make you feel good, anything that doesn't make you feel like you're in a state of love and compassion and grace is the matrix and is also an illusion. So yeah, for me, it's like.
So I have a question for you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have a question.
Yes.
So what if somebody says, how is it an illusion, but I'm experiencing this? Like if I'm experiencing, being disrespected or experiencing hardship, but I'm really experiencing it, how could it be an illusion? What would you say to that?
How can it be an illusion? I would say if it doesn't make you feel good, if it doesn't make you feel like you're in harmony with that experience, you also have to have awareness. Am I the one that's participating in this and creating this an illusion or unharmony? So I feel like having that awareness.
I'm just thinking about how the people may be thinking like it's an illusion, but I'm actually experiencing this. So how could it be an illusion?
Because it's happening, I guess, in real time. Because like in the moment, like that you're experiencing that, it's like currently happening in your environment. So I feel like how can you get past that, right? How can you get past that moment of distress or confusion or, that illusion that you're going through? I feel like the more that we awaken and we see past the illusion and it goes through experience and lessons like we were talking about, the more we'll be able to get closer to that divine matrix. It's like it's in real time and it feels so like it feels like so real, right? It feels so real because it's like it feels like an attack almost when you're going through it. So I feel like even that, if you're not feeling like that's from love, there's a shift that needs to happen. And for me, it's like the shift of it, the illusion and like the what you're seeing. It's like, because it's all. I mean, it goes even. I can't even think about like we were saying earlier. It goes beyond and beyond and beyond of what we see here on Earth because we're experiencing the 3D and our human experience. So it just goes beyond for me what I could even think about.
Oh, good. Thank you, babe. What do you feel about it, Indigo?
There's a saying, and I'm probably going to mess this all up for real. Don't come for me now. So there's a saying that says like, believe half of what you see and like none of what you hear.
None of what you hear. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Right. And that is so true to kind of like explain that we live in a holographic reality. And reality is based off of what you experience from the inner that reflects outer, and then you're able to determine, well, this is real to me or not, right? And the same with like optical illusions, right? So there was like, I remember growing up, and there was like something going on in the internet where there was like a dress, right? And some people looked at the dress and they saw gold and white, and other people looked at the dress and saw blue and black. Show you that it is an illusion. Reality is based off of your perception, right? So if you change your perspective, you're able to experience a different reality. Maybe somebody right next to you may be experiencing hell on earth, and you are experiencing heaven on earth. You're seeing the beauty, you're connecting with the plants. You know what I'm saying? You are on frequency and vibration. And that's what we are. We are energy. And realize that we're energy. We're able to realize that it's all about frequency, resonance, and our consciousness, when we shift our consciousness to a certain frequency, we are able to realize a different reality. And that's our realization of that, right? Because you don't know, it seems so real to you. And how the heck can that not be my reality?
Right.
Yes. Wow. Something just came in. I'm in a mediumship development group, and the teacher was saying, look at the monks that are in the Himalayas that are in like, there's freezing cold, like snow on them. And they're able to retain the frequency and like their level. They're not dying, you know, they're able to be meditating for hours and hours in the snow in the Himalayas. And there's also people that walk through fire here now on earth, you know, people that walk through fire, people that are doing outstanding miracles. You know, Wim Hof is an example of that. It's like awakening to seeing that. It's like that person's reality is shifted from what we know, you know, because it's like, how can that happen? It's like you said, it's they're shifting their reality. There's people doing crazy things on earth, you know,
supernatural things, right?
Supernatural things. So I like that you touched on that, Indigo, because this is what I would say about this question: is the false matrix can be considered an illusion? It's like, look at what people are doing. Look at the miraculous things people are doing that we could also be doing, but it's the mind shift and it's getting rid of those illusions. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Indigo broke that down excellently. Yes. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. I love that. Yes. One of my Matrix exes told me that one a long time ago. But he was on point with that. Okay. But you see through the illusions, you know, he may not be on a high frequency, but he was dropping those gems. And that always stuck with me. It's so true, because we're only seeing, again, we're seeing such a small amount, even through our eyes, of the spectrum of what we're actually seeing, even through our eyes. There is even a dimension in front of us and around us. We could have entities and angels and guides or whatever around us, and even be in a whole nother dimension in reality. But the thing is, it's an illusion because we're operating from such a limited perspective. And we're operating from such a limited consciousness, level of consciousness. And that's why when we expand our consciousness, we're able to see past those illusions, even the illusions of death, even the illusions of harm and pain and suffering. Yes, it's real in that experience. And no one's trying to undermine or denote the fact that suffering is a very real human experience. Yes, and at the same time, there's beauty in that. There's lessons in that. There's transformation in that. There's guidance in that. And that's why when we're able to transcend out of that illusion of, again, having that limited perspective, again, woe is me. Oh, I'm not able to accomplish anything. Or, for example, a big example that's very common in the human populace is that, you know, some people are meant to be broke and some people are meant to be rich. That is one of the biggest lies on the face of the universe, the multiverse. It's one of the biggest lies. I don't care if you came from nothing and you was living in the slums, the worst slums on the planet. If you arise your consciousness, God will open doors for you. Goddess will open doors for you.
Yes.
If you choose, you got to decide. So that's why it's an illusion. You ladies touched on so many beautiful things. Even plant medicine came to me. When you take plant medicine, you're really able to see past some illusions quickly.
Well, experience it together.
Yes, we all have done an ayahuasca experience together in Peru, and let me tell you, you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing.
Nothing with these guys, right? Nothing.
We can go down the rabbit hole with that one.
Oh, that's a whole rabbit hole. Okay. And mind you, plant medicine comes from God, goddess. It comes from the divine. This is not something that's man-made. It comes from the divine. These tools were brought here to help some of us who are choosing. You don't need it, but some of us are choosing to experience that so that it can help rewire the brain and rewire the consciousness and expand the consciousness so we can see past those illusions. So yeah, that is why the false matrix can be considered an illusion, because we can choose and we can go down the rabbit hole to go up, so to speak.
Welcome to the Golden Age Goddess Podcast. We stand for peace, love, happiness, and abundance for all. Listen to your heart and soul's call, and we will encourage you to be bold, audacious, and devoted. Kim, Indigo, and Wind, helping you win by healing deep within. Only way to the Golden Age. Like, share, and subscribe today.